Men jeg skulle give en update. I want to give an update to you on Pila Pharma. Actually, this presentation is a little bit different than the ones I've done before, because there have been some very important, strong changes in trends in the diabetes and obesity field, which is the area where we work. As you know, we have a small tablet in development for the treatment of diabetes, including obesity, obviously. And then also we have an orphan project within pain. But today I will mainly focus on the diabetes space. See if I can get this to work. So over the summer, you have probably read about this, I guess. How many of you have heard about new obesity treatments coming out? Half, maybe? Yeah, okay. But at least to inform those of you who haven't heard about it, some of the diabetes treatments that have been developed within the last 10-15 years, those are molecules called GLP-1 analogs. They were found to have an effect also on reducing body weight. And obviously, if you have diabetes, it's often associated also with an increased body weight. So Novo Nordisk, where I used to work, they also then, after registering their product for diabetes, took it back to clinic and looked at the effect in people without diabetes, but with increased body weight. And there they saw a massive effect on body weight, up to 10% reduction of body weight, which is very good, or used to be very good. Because what has happened here over the summer is that not only can you get a good effect of these GLP-1 analogs and actually treat obesity without getting up and exercise and changing your eating behavior, which you of course also should, but it's very difficult, I know. But there has been some new reports on that if you combine this GLP-1 with some other targets, and here's a graph from Eli Lilly, the competitor of Novo Nordisk, where they showed this summer, Gustav and I was there, showed a massive effect on overtly obese people. So these are people. So this product, it's called a triple, or it's a compound with more functions. And it has been registered in diabetes, where it has a good effect. But here in obese patients, you can see that if you combine GLP-1 with other targets, we call it, so kind of receptors that you push on, that also has an effect on regulation of food intake and thereby body weight, then you can get a really big reduction. As you see over here, in overtly obese patients, you can get them down by 30% within a year. So that is absolutely unprecedented. So people were starting, this was at the American Diabetes meeting, and people started clapping and everything like a rock concert. So this is going to change everything in that space, I think. Another trend is that these molecules, they are peptides, so big molecules you have to inject. Or Novo has actually made a tablet, but a very big tablet out of it. But those are expensive to use. And then, of course, as long as you have the market for yourself, you can take the price you want. But they're effective. But the new trend is also that some of these companies in this space are developing what we call small molecule products. And this is a graph from or some study from a Pfizer molecule that they have in development, phase 2 study, where you see here, this is the glucose effect. Higher and higher doses, you get a better effect, and also a glucose effect on body weight, but only on the higher doses. So this was just to update you. I think this whole area is changing into, you must, if you want to have a place in the diabetes treatment, at least in the Western world, you must have products that can work on obesity also. So this is, while I was in the train, I made a little cartoon for you here. So how do you regulate obesity? Of course, most of you know this. It's what comes in and what goes out that is important. If you take in more than you burn, then you become more obese, and the other way around. If you don't eat enough and you burn it off because you are anoretic and a marathon runner, then you become very skinny. So here in this space, the GLP-1s, they regulate what you take in. And now I'll plot in our molecule, XEND0501, because I think this can be an opportunity for us. I haven't spoken so much about obesity before, because we haven't really gotten the data on this molecule yet. But in principle, these chili receptor antagonists, they should especially increase energy expenditure, so put up the heat, so exercise in a pill, I call it, and probably also can affect this. And this, to me, means, and we have some reason to think that, it could be that our molecule could be one of these extra mechanisms that needs to be combined with GLP-1 for new products to get a good effect. So that's the new thing, like in the big world around us. What do we have in obesity? I'm actually quite happy about this trend. I used to work at Novo. I work with semaglutide, this Wegovy product. It's really good, but at the same time I found out this, I did my own research and found this mechanism of action. And I really think we can be competitive. And when I filed the use patent that we now own in Pila, it was to treat obesity and obesity-related diseases and disorders. That means the whole metabolic syndrome. Everything that leads to diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and so on and so on. Everything is kind of encompassed in this hypothesis I have. So for me, I'm happy. We're back to the origin. Obesity is the center of what we want to do. And of course, the ultimate goal is to treat and save lives. Now we heard about somebody who lost their life today. This is my passion in life and my meaningful journey. It is to develop something that can hopefully save lives. So, yeah. To those of you who haven't seen that last slide, so I summarized where we are. We have small, very stable tablets. This is a stability graph from 1 to 5 years stored at 25 degrees. I think it's absolutely wonderful. It's almost not degraded or not degraded at all. We have that, and we have very good preclinical safety, meaning that when we have tested this molecule in animals, it comes with no side effects. Recently, here in the spring, we completed the 3 months toxicology study that we had set out to do when we listed 2 years ago. We should first make API, then we should do this 3 months tox. And that was completed very successfully without any side effects at very, very high doses. So that ticked off the last part we needed to move on to longer trials in diabetes. As you may remember, we've done a 1 month trial in people with diabetes, showing a good efficacy, or safety, and also signs of efficacy, better insulin secretion, and a lower glucose 2 hours after an oral glucose tolerance test. And we also saw a reduction in HbA1c, a trend, and we need longer trials. This was just a little bit of what do we know about TRPV1 in obesity. Well, we haven't gotten data yet on our molecule, but this is a study from a research group where they had taken some mice with and without, so a knockout mice, so some mice without the receptor, and mice with the TRPV1 or the chili receptor. And as you can see, the ones that are TRPV1 null mice, they don't put on body weight. So let's see how it will be in man, but we have some indications that it might be the same. Now I brought this one because I think when I got the idea about this product, it was to be as good as GLP-1s or better and cheaper. So this is a slide I made for a presentation in 2017. And I believe that this TRPV1 receptor has an effect on multiple organs. So that means that either we treat a disease with multiple complications, or we can also develop treatments for specific indications. But here this was a presentation to Nordea actually when Novo came out with their oral GLP-1 analog. And here I compared. And I think that the blue ones are GLP-1 effects in clinic that have been shown after that meeting. And the TRPV1s are what we hope to do. But in principle, we should be on par with the GLP-1s. Some of the GLP-1 analogs have some negative effects on eye retinal function, so maybe we'll be better there. And for sure, we expect an effect on joint diseases and pain, and I haven't heard that GLP-1 analogs should have that. So if we are moving into the space where GLP-1 analogs will dominate that, I think we have something that can be maybe competitive, but at least additive, maybe with more. And for sure, this pain effect, maybe you heard that last December, the professor that discovered the chili receptor, the TRPV1, he got the Nobel Prize for that discovery. So, but that's for the effect in pain and heat, so energy expenditure. So where are we now? When the blue one is the plan that I presented 2 years ago when we listed. We wanted to do more API and tox. That's done with good results. And we're now moving into this, the critical or pivotal study, phase 2b. We have decided to insert a dose-finding study first, because we believe we can go up and must go up in higher doses and explore that. It's also a little bit about funding, as you may imagine. So that's what we are aiming for next in the diabetes. And then as a side mark, we also got this orphan indication. And I think it's important for us to prove that we have an effect on pain. So we will do a proof of concept trial actually here in Sweden. We just, last week, maybe you saw that, we got 2 weeks ago actually, on Thursday 2 weeks ago, we got feedback from our manufacturer of our tablets that we made 2 years ago also, that they're okay to use for these 2 studies. So I wanted to go ahead fast, and I called some of our kind of supportive long-term investors and asked if they could give us a small loan so that we could progress fast. And so tomorrow I'm going to talk to a CRO to see if we can get some help in submitting clinical trial applications for these 2 studies. The diabetes study will be conducted in UK with an investigator there. And I hope that we can, and this you might recognize these again, something like this. We want to explore higher doses, that it's tolerable, and hopefully that on the highest doses we can get down much lower in this HbA1c, the marker for glucose, around 1%. And then hopefully with the highest doses that we can also begin to see a trend on obesity. So that's the aim. Just a little bit on this. I've tried to benchmark. I think we can be competitive on all parameters, as I showed you, to the GLP-1s, which are going to be the leading compounds going forward. But I think we will be cheaper in the diabetes space, hopefully. But with the obesity effect, if we can show that, we can get down into this segment of treatment where, and it's really a smart model, you get from a very big market to an even bigger market. And Gustav can remember the actual numbers, but it's something like 50. No, well, you have to put in that. I forget about that. But it's gigantic market. So if you can get in on that, either as a standalone treatment in diabetes, maybe get 5% of that is a lot of money, and hopefully a lot of treatment of good people. And then if you can get on to one of these other molecules for a combination product in obesity, it can maybe be a double up. Yeah. So, okay, I forgot that. So I hope some of you could have the interest in joining us as shareholders. We are listed at Nasdaq, #Pila. And yeah, there will always be new shares issues, I guess, for this expensive journey.
Okej, tack så mycket.
you.